They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Program to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed. Disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of all nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome to Rogue Ways. This is your Sunday edition, and when you are watching and listening to this, I will have just completed, many of us will just have completed our 1 day of brightness event for the fall equinox 2021. And I know that what I will say to you, if I were doing this live right after that event instead of pre-recording it so that I will have a break tomorrow, what I will have said to you if I were doing it live is that this was one of the deepest, most stilling, balance-full, presence-filled extensions of my inner understanding, inner knowing, and inner self that I had ever done. And that's what a lot of people would say, maybe in some different words than that, but that's the general consensus every time we do this, and every time it gets better and deeper and more beautiful. And I'm so blessed and so honored to be able to help facilitate these types of events through my own teaching and my own work, through this show, Rogue Ways, through Middle Path, and through all of the connections that I'm able to make in this show. Because we know that a lot of the people who present at 1 Day of Brightness and who lead people through the deepening of their connection to self and soul are people who were guests first on Rogue Ways. And so that's how I met them personally, including Catherine O'Shea, Chance Garton, and Michael Wan, all three of them that presented at this 1 Day of Brightness today and led sessions in this 1 Day of Brightness came from connections through the show. So you guys are a big part of this, whether you were there or not. You helped make this happen, and I just appreciate everybody out there, all your support, the people who subscribe on Subscribestar, who are members at rogue.locals.com and joined in the community there, people who watch, people who listen, people who share and tell other people about Rogue Ways and what they love about it, and about Middle Path and what they love about it, and all of the people who also grab all kinds of stuff from the site and join in there. All of you, I am so grateful to know you, to connect with you, to be in connection with you, and to share on this journey together. I've just been more and more excited lately. I know, it's so funny to think back over the past year and a half and just how dark it's supposed to have been and how horrible. And I don't mean to make light of it, because there were dark moments even for myself. And I know a lot of people have been struggling with a lot of things. First and foremost, are feeling like a lot of the people we knew and loved have changed suddenly, or would suddenly do harm to us, or not respect our freedom or sovereignty anymore. And some of these things have been really deep wounds that we've felt. So I don't mean to make light of it, but I think a lot of you out there are with me when you reflect back and see how much you've grown from some of that, how many wounds inside you've actually been able to heal so that people can't hurt you in that way anymore. Not because you cut off and shut down, but actually because you go in and sit with it and see, I can leave this open actually. And the more open and honest I am with it, and the more vulnerable that might feel, it's actually this impenetrable truth comes to be known, right? No one can hurt you if you've already gone in and healed your own wounds and sat with them and then just remained open still. And what's even cooler about that is they get to heal too. So just us living through this, using it to heal some of our own wounds, using it to go deeper and get stronger and be more full of a even wilder warrior energy that is rising in all kinds of people all around the planet right now. Just that. Just people being able to see that, feel it, be around it, maybe hear us talking about it, perhaps, all of that is what you are doing over this past year and a half. And I just keep feeling brighter and brighter. And the 1 Day of Brightness is no small part in why I think we're able to continue to feel bright, even in this supposedly scary, gloomy darkness that we continuously keep going deeper into. And what's really happening, I think, is that we're healing the wounds of the entire species. And I know to a lot of people that looks really hopeless. They have questions and they're wondering and they're like frantically even searching their mind of like, what's going to happen? How's it going to happen? How am I going to be prepared? And that's fine. I think it's even better when you can come to a place of pause and rest and say, I've been fine my whole life, and I've always been actually prepared for everything that I've had to deal with. And when I wasn't, other people came in and helped me get through it anyway. And in my connection to myself, in my connection to others, and in my connection to source, everything has always been okay, and it always will be. I don't need to know how it's going to play out. I don't need to know what I need to get ready for, right? And we've been saying this all year, and I know you guys resonate with it and you get it. But that's just where I'm feeling, again, more deeply today. And if you were at One Day of Brightness, you got to feel that even deeper. And if you weren't, and you are wishing you were, you actually can still watch the recording if you want to. That's something you can still do. And you can get ready and you can go buy your ticket to the next one already. Because every time, as soon as the event is done, we start selling tickets to the next One Day of Brightness, which will be near the next solstice and equinox. So the next one would be winter solstice 2021. Ooh, the winter ones are always good. Because that's when we're supposed to, according to our programming and according to their spells and whatever they're casting out there, we're supposed to feel like the darkest and the most cut off and, in the recesses, like the farthest from the light and like all these things are like burying us under. Nah, that's not what we're going to feel like, because we're going to do the One Day of Brightness and other things and middle path, and we're going to stay bright and uplifted through all of it. So if you want to be a part of that already, go get your tickets. So today we're going to dive right into some darkness, and we're going to look at some really, really concerning things. Of course, if you've been listening to and watching Rogue Ways, none of them are going to surprise you. If you've been doing this even before Rogue Ways ever existed, none of it's going to surprise you. But it is good to keep up on what's happening in that world so we can just know what's going on. And, basically it's been a year and a half of all conspiracy theorists everywhere being like, fucking told you so. Fucking told you so. And there's more of that. And maybe you've seen some of it if you've been around the Telegram group, t.me/rogueways. If you're in there and you can't figure out how to chat, you just comment on any post and it pops you over to the chat. I don't know what the link to the chat is, or else I would, tell you that instead. I guess maybe that'd be something handy to figure out, and maybe I will someday. But that's how you do it. I've had people be like, I've been in this forever, I don't see anybody chatting. I'm like, oh, you're in the actual like announcement area, but if you comment on any of the announcements, you jump into a chat where everybody's chatting. So if you're in there, you probably know a lot of these things. If you're in locals, I post much of the things that I later end up talking about on shows, and so you've seen a lot of that. And you've been a part of the conversation, and I'm sure other places are sharing all these things as well, so who knows. But some of it might be new to you, and some of it's exceptionally disturbing, so we're going to look at that. And because we're going to do that soon, we're going to have to cut off the YouTube feed, and you're going to have to go over to Rockfin. So rockfin.com/rogueways. I don't know, man. There's some people who are just really like opposed for some reason to Rockfin, and they're like, I'm not going to Rockfin ever. And I'm like, that's fine. I've been very resistant to some things too, but come on, guys. I've been on YouTube for how many years, and I've gotten so many strikes and whatever, and I'm doing my best to stay there. And I also want to speak my mind, and Rockfin is where I can do it. So it's no different from anywhere else. People are like, I don't want to give my email address. I'm like, you've done that for every other thing you've ever done online. So I don't care. Do whatever you want, but maybe consider why are you so resistant to Rockfin, and then head over there. There's a lot of fantastic, unfiltered, uncensored content there. But as always, you can go to rogueways.org and find the site. There's always so much more there. We are doing hangouts now every Thursdays after Middle Path. So if you want to just hang out with like-minded people and just talk unrecorded, unstreamed, unstructured, it is really fun. It's really relieving. Sometimes, we need that connection to just hang out with people and not feel crazy anymore, or just to hang out and have fun. I mean, we don't just sit there and do doom and gloom. We just are people hanging out. So it's pretty cool. If you are a supporter anywhere, if you give Rogue Ways your support monetarily in any location, whether it's on Subscribestar, Locals, or Rockfin, then I post that link for you to come in and hang out in Zoom. So if you're into that, come be a supporter. I think the lowest level on Subscribestar is $1. The lowest level on Locals is $2. So come on. Again, if you're resistant to supporting something you love, I'm not sure why, but I hope that you pop over and hang out with us. Of course, there are some writings, some Foes Come to Die, I Come to Thrive is my recent piece about my supposed alleged autoimmune disease that I am now kicking the ass of now that I fully understand it. I have a piece about time flow and some really neat past life memories that I've had that are newer than the ones you may have heard before. The piece You Are Sovereign is just to remind you that you have links that you can use if you are trying to resist someone trying to force something on you or into your body. And another piece I'm really fond of recently was I Was a Communist, I Feel Much Better Now. And one more I'll mention, if you haven't read it yet, it is a little bit older, but Conditioned by Psychopathy is one of my favorites. I'm really hoping to get a host of Disaffected, a new podcast that I really like, newer podcast that I really like, on the show, because he talks way more expertly about these types of things I wrote about in Conditioned by Psychopathy, about how our society is immersed in the aberrant psychology of psychopathy, sociopathy, and borderline personality disorders, and how we accept it, reward it, and that therefore it's flourishing, and that all of us are affected by it, and what we can do about it. He does an even better job. He breaks it down in detail every single episode. So I'm hoping he wants to come on the show. So maybe he will even hear this and hear me saying that and feel like he wants to come on the show. But I also want to remind you, I do write books. I will sign them and send them to you if you would like to buy them from me. You can also get them on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles and other places. I've got The Earth, A Trough in Time is the most recent addition to the trilogy, Sine Curve of Eons, the first of which is Phytalis. And those are both here. I also have my newest, and it's a bigger hit in many ways because it's a shorter book, and because it's an oracle, it's meant to be consulted. And so you can ask a question, flip open to a page like bibliomancy, like a god shot, and just get your answer there. And people really love that and really enjoy it. It is channeled from on high. It is not me. My name is on it because what are you going to write? From God? Like, I don't know. So, but I will sign it and send that to you. And all of the books, when I inscribe them, the message is also channeled for you from source. So that's a nice little treat too if you buy it from me. I do tarot readings. I do little short ones that are 3 cards. I do longer 10-card readings, and I do even designer readings for people. If you've already had a reading before, we can design a reading specifically for any number of questions you might be considering at the time. And so you can grab a tarot reading from the site. I do spiritual guidance and ceremony. And this is like a one day of brightness all packed into a short little action-packed, amazing healing session. If you're needing something spiritually, if you're feeling dark, detached, negative, or assaulted, if you're experiencing strange things, or if you just need some help in that area, spiritually or emotionally, then you can reach out to me. I do tuning and alignment, little sound healing sessions. I do blessings, which are just power-packed little punches of goodness. They're really, really amazing, and you can read some reviews about any of these if you'd like. I do what I call a guidance session, which is more like a talk session, which we sometimes can use some of those tools, but otherwise we're just talking through some things, and I'm offering some guidance that, again, is channeled through from source for you. And the healing ceremony is a pretty powerful, if you've seen the episodes, Soul Retrieval, or there's a couple other episodes where I go into deeper detail about what a healing ceremony really consists of, or you can come here and click on this and check it out too. I do all kinds of spiritual support work though, so I always want to remind people that's out there. And of course, in the shop, you can also get blessed jewelry, including orgone, crystal, and stone jewelry that I make via guidance from my inner/higher self, from source, from guides, and all kinds of stuff. And you can just scroll through the shop too and see all kinds of stuff. Water bottles and blah, blah, blah. So I just did a new custom orgonite plaque. If you click here, you can order. You can tell me what colors, what stones, what sort of intentions, or any of the above. And I will create a custom piece just for you and your intentions. So I just got to do one of those. It was really powerful and really beautiful. And so, yeah, this is all the stuff that you can find and more on the site. So rogueways.org. And before we move on, I just want to show you a couple, pictures of the most recent orgone I've done. So these are pendants. They're usually about 1 inch long. And so you can gauge the width based on knowing that proportion. These have all kinds of different energies. Each piece is actually really different. These first three look similar, so they have some of the similar crystals and whatnot. Once they get on the site, I write up a whole thing about them, but right now I always just like to offer them to people first before they jump up there. And I really like how some of these turned out. These purpley turquoise ones are, especially this one, there's something about the flow of the energy and the shapes that you're seeing here that is really fun. I don't know exactly why that decided to look exactly that way, but there's something about it that's like really energetically fun. So I can't wait to see who gets that one. But they're all unique and beautiful, and so I just wanted to show you some of these. So let's get past that and jump into it. And before I go to the next page, which will get me banned from YouTube if I even show some of the words on it, this thing I'm about to show you, if you haven't seen it yet, would cement your will to never let them invade your bodily sovereignty with any substance, no matter what the cost. Man, I really should have. Oh, maybe you didn't see that anyway. It's hidden by my face. I'm like on Facebook. So I need to get off YouTube so I can carry on with the rest of this. So love to you all on YouTube and anywhere else this was before I cut off. But please go to rockfin.com/rogueways to see what we're going to talk about, because it's going to be really, really good to hear and intense and dark, but we're gonna find the ways through. So bye YouTube. Sorry it's so short, but there's a lot of content today that can't be on there. But I am sure that this has been their plan all along, that my hair could be way better than this. and that they don't understand everything, and that they don't control everything, and that it's not a closed system. Someone just posted this experiment. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but you may know when I describe it. They had all these mice and these rats, and they were like, these rats over here, when they were cut off, and they like lived like this, and then these rats over here, and when they had this many resources, they all acted like this, and when they had this many resources, they all acted like that. And someone was like, what do you guys think about this? Like, what does this mean for their ability to sort of control us as a populace and our behavior towards one another? And I reminded that person, I'll remind you now, this is not a closed system. This earth, this is not a closed system. This body you have, this is not a closed system. You are encountering your environment, you're interacting with it, and you're exchanging energy with it. The earth is doing the same. All living beings are doing the same. In fact, I just had a quote from Nikola Tesla today, and I'm going to pull it up to show you as our final thought for the day, because it's perfect for what I'm reminding you of right now and what I was reminded of today by Nikola Tesla, the beautiful, beautiful wizard man. And so let me just show you this really quick again. He says, every living being is an engine geared to the wheelwork of the universe. Though seemingly affected only by its immediate surrounding, the sphere of external influence extends to infinite distance. We are not in a closed system. They cannot control every input. They cannot control every output. They cannot control you, period. I would go so far as to say that even in the people who have accepted this substance into their body, even if their 5G mechanisms to carrying directions do cause them to create all these nanobots inside of themselves and do cause some level of mind control, even those people could cleanse themselves of that, could recommit and attach to their central system of connection to themselves and to other people and to nature and to source. Even those people could. But especially those of us who stayed sovereign in our minds and our souls and our hearts all along, we especially could. And because it's not a closed system, and because even the farthest reaches of any space-time is connected to every cell of our being and every bit of our consciousness, who knows what could come into this, what they think is a closed system, to just fuck up the gears of their works a bit. And I was just talking with Michael Wan about this the other day, saying, remember, like the earth could open up. The fucking water could spout out suddenly of somewhere. right? A fucking mountain could suddenly collapse. A bunch of fucking lightning storms could come and do it. Shit that I've never even imagined could just come and interact in our environment. We have no fucking clue what could happen or why it could happen. So don't get caught up in their fear campaigns of false scarcity and false control, right? Anytime they're like, oh, there's not enough toilet paper. Oh, there's tons of toilet paper. There's fucking tons of it. Oh, there's no wood. There's a lot of fucking wood. There's shit tons of trees everywhere. Oh, well, there's no hand sanitizer. Bitch, there's vinegar. Fucking vinegar sanitizes. Whatever they're pretending there's not enough of, there has always been more than enough. There always will be more than enough. Sometimes it's not getting transported to the places that you're used to, but it's still there, and it's not a closed system, and fucking shit can happen out of nowhere that you never expected. I went out in my garden last winter and found a fucking carrot growing. Like, what? Doesn't even make sense. It's fucking winter. It's been frozen. It's not spring. Why were you even alive? And then we ate it. It was delicious. Like, shit is crazy, and this is not a closed system. You are not a closed system. Everything is continuously renewed. Oftentimes, things are jumping to whole new levels of being. Evolution is happening, not in the sense that they told us, but in the sense of our soul and our consciousness is constantly evolving. We have no idea what we're capable of. We have no idea what this system is capable of. And those motherfuckers are working on outdated shit that they can't even fucking understand. And they think they're going to pull this off and they can't. Like, their hubris. Well, fuck them. So, on that note... Don't be full of hubris. Don't think you know. Don't pretend that you understand the entirety of this massive, open-ended, self-renewing system that we are a part of. Don't pretend like you know. Don't pretend like you can fucking put it in a box and define every aspect of it, because you can't. But you can go inside and connect to yourself and remember that that connection goes to infinity. It's not a closed system. You can bring anything in through there that you want to. And until you master that art of remembering the very, very open system in which we are a part of, this larger organism on this continuing dance of evolutionary progress that those motherfuckers couldn't even hope to understand, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
It's a one-on-one lesson. Make your dome hurt while up on earth. My bones are blessed from holy dirt. Vibes manifested to words that told me search for verbs and adjectives to describe birth. Worth more than one can speak, while the tongue beats a weak, a sour taste in your mouth, bittersweet. Words can also kill you when you sleep, mind condition. Low frequencies while the subconscious mind listens. I can tell a vision filled with lies disguised as truth, and spread it like the word to the youth. Watch the tube. A place where the God is food is sorcery. To recreate the God forgery does more than meets the eye. Not too many know. Just hear me flow like the eye of Horus Henio. Yeah, not ready to leave until we believe we're free to go. You hear me, yo?
Sculpted from the ether, the material will eat ya. Stuck on this plane, lanes use jet fuel to greet ya. The dimensional three ain't meeting me on top of the fourth. Didn't climb Jacob's ladder to squab with a sword. Forged with Yggdrasil, branch down, try quiet your lamps now. Ascension past the matter that they slam out they damn mouths. We ain't on land now, but they under over understand. Sacrificing wisdom, hoarding dumber, kosher, wicked hands. Putting faith in worthless worship of the mortals. Artificial portals, mass ingestion of the black goo. Bioengineered morsels, conversing with machine elves. Bypassing maggots, they stuck on Android screens now. I'm scrolling emerald tablets. Moloch living lavish, off the back to the savage. Them clasped hands at the Sabbath. Smack of energy damage, they done twisted the tongues. With nanotech in the lungs, the awakening's begun. All they really can do is fucking run.